So this is my client, Emily, and I wanted her to just talk today about her experience because she's one of my younger clients. And so her journey really is just beginning on finding purpose and the connections that, purpose, how it makes us feel either connected to or disconnected. And so, Emily, when I first met you, do you remember why you had started on yoga therapy? You were referred, right?
Yes.
And you were referred by who?
Christina Strain.
Your therapist.
Yes. Yes.
And so we worked together a little bit and you were figuring it out. And a lot had happened to you. So go ahead and explain kind of where you were in that place and why your therapist would have referred you to yoga therapy.
I'd recently graduated university. That year, my cousin, who I had grown up with, and I was close to, had died of sarcoma cancer. So that was a huge disconnect. And I could feel myself slipping and going backwards to old patterns that weren't good for me. And I just...
Right? So let's stop so people can maybe recognize kind of what you mean by old pattern. You're saying patterns, I'm saying symptoms, right?
Yes.
So what were those patterns that you noticed that weren't helping?
I was drinking excessively. I wasn't expressing myself to anyone about like how I felt. I would try to disguise my sadness. And I procrastinated on my goals and slipped away from that.
So you were willing to give yoga therapy a try, even though you hadn't heard much about it. So tell me what your experience was when we started working together. What did you notice? Did it help? Did it not? That sort of thing.
Yeah, so it definitely helped. Because I had gotten into a very serious situation that I was felt hopeless for. And the first session, we had gone over a plan and I felt very energized about that. And then we created a game plan. And then the following session, I came back having effed it up. And I felt embarrassed and shameful. And what really, really resonated and helped me with Kristal and wanting to continue yoga therapy is that as I was explaining the situation, I kept blaming other people for it. And she made me realize through that situation to take responsibility and ownership for me. And another thing that triggered me, though, is that how I really wanted her help is that you didn't do it in a mean way, but you kind of made it seem like if I was going to keep blaming other people, then you weren't going to work with me. And I knew that yoga therapy and working with Kristal was really like my only savior. So that was kind of like a good slap in the face. And I wanted to go back towards the right direction and work with yoga therapy.
So that's funny that that's how you remember it. But I think that that's a really good point that you raise, because I don't know, I would say it's a little bit more gentle than a slap in the face, right?
Yes.
But
yeah.
Essentially, there is no way that we can grow and have amazing opportunities and connect to purpose and to joy if we're not taking responsibility for our actions. Because our actions, what you're talking about is negative, right? Like you needed to really take responsibilities for some things in your life in order to move forward. But if you take responsibility for those things, then all the amazing things that happen as a result, you get to take responsibility for. So it's a win-win. It may feel a little bit painful or uncomfortable in the beginning, but there was a lot of great things that happened as a result of working together that you were able to take responsibility for, that were all you, right?
Mm.
So what are some things that after we started working together that you got to take responsibility for that were positive?
That I paid off that situation. I was able to conquer and maintain one of my goals for about 2 years, which was moving out of my parents' house and living independently in my own apartment. I also was able to go in the direction of becoming a yoga therapist. So I recently got my YTT certificate this June. Just it honestly has just been life changing because like the people that I see that are similar to me, I'm able to give them the lessons that I've learned and uh, help them with that. Um, Even when I'm not working with Kristal, and if I feel that I'm getting off the path, I can hear like what she would say. Like she would ask me like, "Are you doing your affirmations? Are you doing sun salutations? Are you doing just like the goals that she knows or the little habitual things that you do in a routine to keep that consistency and keep you going in the right path?"
Well, and consistency is really important for you because you suffer from ADHD.
Yes.
So it's really hard to stay focused. And so do you feel that yoga therapy and coaching has helped you at all in that?
Yes, tremendously. Tremendously, because even just with the sun salutations that really in the meditations too, it is what I've said to you before is when that woman at the meditation said is that even if you don't get like a tingling feeling while you're doing the meditation, you notice it when you don't do it. And it just creates more positive effects. Like I'm able to concentrate and stay more focused. And I write lists now of what I have to do. I try not to procrastinate as much. And you've taught me as well as to focus more on one thing and take it step by step rather than put too much emphasis on one thing, because when I do that, I get overwhelmed and then I paralyze myself.
Yeah, that's really common. So let me ask you this. You call them belief patterns. I call them symptoms. When we started working, more on your dharma or being connected to purpose or joy, did any of those beliefs or patterns or habits or symptoms, as I would call, go away or at least reside?
Can you give me an example?
So, so the whole idea, at least I believe, is that when we're more connected to ourselves and we're more connected to our purpose, and we're more connected to joy, then any unease or dis-ease in the body starts to really dissipate, starts to go away. So you mentioned before that there was a lot of negative habits and patterns that you were involved in prior to our work. But
Yeah.
since our work, have any of those negative habits or patterns dissipated or gone away?
Yes, I'd say they dissipated. Yes, I don't, for example, I would use drinking as an escape. And I've been able to not throw myself a pity party and drink alone. When I go out with people and if drinking is involved, I know already like how that person is going to be drinking, and I just am more at ease where I feel like that's like their prerogative. I don't have to be at their level, and just knowing that I don't even like need to drink to feel good, and that there's other methods. And that's another thing too, is even with going back to the beginning, I was like very spiritually disconnected, and through yoga I felt more spiritual with the meditations and the chantings and just doing more yoga. Um, so that has also aided, because it just takes away like the jitters and creates
Well,
a more purposeful life.
I think
Much
you've done amazing work, and it's really exciting to see you grow and now take on some of these trainings, yoga trainings, and start speaking your own truth, right? And
Yes.
walking that own, path of purpose and sharing some of the healing teachings of yoga. So I honor that and I applaud you, and I'm really proud of the work you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thanks for sharing your story.
Yes.